All right, and we're live. Let's just make sure it's going out okay. Any old YouTubes? Don't have Luke with me. Luke's been busy with personal stuff the past week or so I haven't really been bothering him with the impromptu streams. Okay, sounds okay. All right, so I did a Bechtloff Outpost. Was it earlier this week? I can't remember. One too long ago, and a bunch of people said you should check out Davis's one stream. It's rippable stuff. And I listened to 5 minutes. He was talking about dumb shit like UFOs and stuff. I shouldn't say dumb shit, like goofy, weird, coast to coast AM kind of shit. And I said, okay. And the lighting was just awful. So I thought, all right, well, I can rip on this. And it actually turned out to be really, really boring. I thought it turned out boring. I was miserable throughout it. And a little bit of the early feedback when I left it up for a day or so, they thought it was boring. So I was like, you know what? Didn't turn out good. Let's just axe it. So I axed it. And I was like, maybe I should just drop the ripping on Davis thing. I mean, he's getting to a point where he's just boring, and what is there to... he's not spurging out anymore. He's not even in the pagan cult anymore. He's reset it to... or attempted to reset to this trad Catholic shit. So I thought maybe but then I watched a little bit of his Notre Dame is Burning stream. I was 27 minutes into it when I decided, you know what? I think this is worth doing a dissection of. So that's what we're going to do. I'm not going to do the video. We're just going to do the audio. I don't know. If he does if the video catches something really ridiculous, y'all got to say maybe I'll back it up and do screen share, but I don't want to fuck around with screen share. I really don't. So we're just going to listen to Davis. The video is nothing but him sitting there, sunglasses indoors, and, one gay cigarella after another. So I think you can use your imagination on that. But let's go ahead and watch this because I think there's a lot here to talk about.
Good afternoon, folks. Let's see if this is actually working. Still getting this D-Live TV sorted out. And, well, it looks like... Is it streaming?
The technical issues are almost a tradition.
What title do you guys see up there? Because I'm seeing a live stream I did from 3 weeks.
I'll mute him for a second here. Yeah, the technical issues are almost a tradition with him at this point. If he was a little bit self-aware, I'd swear it was a running gag.
Yeah, OBS says it's streaming. Reload again. There's a bit of a delay.
Come on,
dude. Get people chatting.
All right, yes, get to the point.
Oh, yeah.
Let's skip ahead a little bit.
Oh, okay. There we go. I've got video of myself now. It says that there's 4 people watching right now, so I'm going to assume that in some manner this is working. You know what happens? I rewind on this, talking about it, and I want to, well, wind. You have to catch up once the new video.
Sorry, folks, I'm skipping ahead a little bit to figure out when he actually starts talking about shit. When we skip the audio shit.
Followers. The topic of this video, Notre Dame. It's been on, everyone's been talking about it. And I want to share some thoughts with you on what's going on.
We got a big brain nibber. Let's sort this out.
One of the interesting things that I noticed, and many of my Catholic friends noticed as well, is that the people that are really really upset by this, people that are freaking out over Notre Dame burning. The atheists, the liberals and the socialists, it's the Protestants. These are the people that are having so much trouble dealing with it.
Right away. Right away. It's like, you know, the Bernstein Bears parallel universes theory. Well, I got my own parallel universe theory. I believe that Davis Arini exists in a parallel universe like 90% of the time, and he only gets shunted to our universe when he posts shit on the internet. Not even when he's reading shit on the internet, but when he posts shit, he somehow gets shunted onto our universe. Because everything he fucking talks about, like, it's just completely ass backwards from reality. The atheists and the Protestants and the liberals and the socialists, they're the ones upset about Notre Dame burning. No. Didn't I just do a stream like a few days ago where I said, chill out, motherfuckers, it's just a building? Because it is, it's just a building. Yeah, it was pretty and it was historic and it was sad to see it go. Okay. Oh, hopefully it gets restored. Who knows with the sorry state of the French culture and government. But hopefully that would be nice. But it's just a building. It's just glass and stone and wood. And I talked about how a lot of the hyper trad guys I know, you know, the Catholics, some of the Orthodox, the guys who, you know, bitch about modern architecture all the fucking time, and a lot of modern architecture is shit, but not all of it. You know, the guys who always wax about how superior Europe is culturally and bitch about it, guys like Davis. I mean, I there's a private group I'm in on Facebook, and it's a bunch of shitlords, and a lot of them are hyper trad guys and that sort of thing. And one of them was talking about how he had spent all day weeping over the tragedy. And I thought to myself, that is a building, dude. Like, I actually shared a few fucking Notre Dame memes because, you know, it's funny. It's meme time, you know. And, you know, they were like mad at me about it. You know, and this is normally the kind of group where you can share dank memes. From what I understand, I don't spend a lot of time in Argent server. I actually kind of forgot I was in it until today. There's a lot of people who are a little touchy about it on Argent server. It's the trad guys that are upset about it. Remember that picture I showed? And Nick Fuentes even made fun of this. That picture they show where it's the, I'm pretty sure it's the intersection, the Breezewood intersection in PA, right, where the turnpike. At the Breezewood exit at the PA Turnpike, where it's basically a major north-south and a major east-west road crossing right there. So of course there's scatterings of fast food places and gas stations and hotel rooms out the ass and tangles of electric wires going every which way and off ramps and on ramps going all over the place. It's a big tangled mess. But like I said, it's a major east-west, north-south intersection. What the fuck do you expect it to be like? We get all these hyper trad guys and they'll show pictures of it like, ick, modernism, am I right? Those are the kind of guys who weep over the Notre Dame thing. But in the universe, Davis apparently spends 80% of his time in. Where up is fucking down and left is fucking right. And apparently it's all the liberal Protestants who are crying about Notre Dame.
When the irony is that this is what they've been fighting for all along. They have been fighting against the old order. They have been fighting against hierarchy. It's do what it is. But like all of it, it's an extended version of F you, Dad. Angry at the father, angry at the patriarchy, angry at our literal forefathers, angry at civilization, and yet they still expect civilization to be there for them. Let's see. I'm just going to check that it is free. Yeah, please leave a comment just so I can know for certain that things are working.
I mean, he's right to some extent about the liberals, being all about fuck you, Dad.
I never quite get the, that's it. YouTube has such a wonderful feedback.
You're not on YouTube anymore. What are you talking about?
But yes, it's the extended version of F You Dad, where they want to raid against their father, against the parents of Arisia. He can hear me, and that's saying something. Thank you, brother.
Davis, how's your relationship with your father?
And then the moment that finally the father turns away, finally when he's gone too far, that's when they freak out. Because they thought they could play the F you dad game without having any consequences.
Again, though, while there's some, it's basic bitch analysis of liberals that people have been saying for years in these corners, not an original thought in his head. Yeah, a lot of liberalism and certainly atheism is all about fuck you, Dad. But he's starting from a flawed premise. The liberals and the socialists and the Protestants and this, that, or the other thing are not the ones. They're not sad over Notre Dame. A few of them are like virtue signaling here and there or whatever. But no, most of them don't give a shit. All right? I don't really give a shit about it. I said that on here. Yeah, it's sad, but I don't have any real emotional investment in fucking France. All that German blood in me. Don't care for them frogs. Seriously, though, I don't have an emotional investment in Europe in general. Fuck Europe. My ancestors left the old world for a reason.
And all of a sudden, there's consequences. All of a sudden, this thing is taken away. And this is what causes the panic.
Again, flawed premise.
All of my Catholic friends. I mean, yes, it's an absolute tragedy. A travesty. If it was, in fact, terrorism, not even terrorism, if it was the actions of a hostile population that's been invited into France.
So, in other words, terrorism?
A population that hates God, hates Jesus, hates French people, and hates churches, that's burned down. They've set fire to 12 churches in the past week, aside from Notre Dame. If it's that, yes, it's terrible. Although, I'll be honest, it would not surprise me in the least if it actually was some sort of act. All the other ones were the acts of Islamic migrants setting fire to churches, and yet Notre Dame, it turns out, is natural causes, is just an electrical accident or whatever.
I sort of lean towards terrorism myself. But
not that we'll ever know. Okay, if you can't trust the media, they do nothing but lie. They were already saying, while the fire was burning, the media was saying it's probably this. Well, no, the fire is burning right now. You have no idea what it is. It's like in New Zealand when the Christchurch shooting, when they clean up the mosque and destroy all the evidence. One day,
he does. You know what, guys?
The bodies hit the floor.
I can't. Okay, we're gonna
right?
pause this for a second.
There's no law and order.
We're gonna pause this. Pause this right in the neg hole. Let's adjust speed. Let's try 1.25
anymore. Something. I was mentioning this to a
friend of mine. Hang on.
Great deal of respect for his insight. And I said to him like the day before Notre Dame burned, actually. I said to him, have you noticed that things are accelerating? Is it just me? Am I reading a lot of negative news? Or, because I get the feeling that things are accelerating. He said, yes, I'm seeing the exact same thing. I think the exact same in person. This guy also noticed back in late 2014 or so, when there was that sudden wave of demonic activity that appeared, he noticed that as well. And Barnhart noticed that. So that's the sort of thing where you think, is it just me? Maybe it's something else.
Back in 2014, that sudden wave of demonic activity. Is this gotten too fast for you guys, by the way? I know it's starting to sound a little bit like the old Micro Machines commercials from the 90s. You know, if you're the OG like me, you might remember that. I want to speed it up because he's just insufferably slow, but let me know in the comments if you can hear him okay. Because I don't want to be here all night. We're not doing another 4 hours of this shit or something. You know, he's not going on about me or something where I feel a need to personally comment on it. You know, this is just, it's that typical trad Catholic bullshit, because that's again what he's reverted back to. That's the you know, the pagan LARPing costume that didn't pan out, so he's decided to put the trad Catholic costume back on. But these are actual arguments I feel the need to address, because it's not just him I hear a lot of this stuff from. Although the Catholics don't really care about the burning, it's the Protestants that cried about it. That's I don't know where he picked that bullshit up from. But let's keep going. Let me know if you can hear me.
Maybe no, when you get all these data points of other people sensing the same thing. Yeah, it's accelerating right now. It's like an exponential curve.
We'll go with 1.25.
At first, it seems like it's just a steady increase, right? Because with these sort of events, they're hard to quantify. They're going to kind of be spotty all over the place. You apply a best fit line, and at first, trying to distinguish between an exponential curve and a straight line is you can't do it. But we've just hit the part where you can feel it accelerating. Space Barista, thank you for following, and thank you for the women. So yeah, he noticed the acceleration. I've noticed it. I think other people have noticed it as well. Coffee's done.
Yes, we live in interesting times, David. Oh, we're pouring some apple juice.
This fire happened. And now every Catholic I've spoken to about has been, yes, it's sad, but it's just a building.
Again, I'm hearing people telling me they're weeping all day over the tragedy. All right. Now, I know that's my personal experience versus his, but I don't know, chat. Am I off base here? Are you hearing a lot of Protestants and socialists and liberals crying about Notre Dame? Or is it the more trad Catholic types that are not interested in laughing at some Notre Dame dank memes?
Whereas it's the Protestants, the liberals, the socialists, they're the ones having the panic attack.
Again, I can't reiterate this enough. That's just wrong.
Are demanding that when are you Catholics going to pick up arms? When are you going to do something? It's like, you guys have been burning the whole thing down for centuries.
Okay, this is something I encountered when him and I were beefing more. He just, you ever see that South Park where it's the episode with the fish sticks joke? Do you like fish sticks? Are you a gay fish? That episode, where Cartman remembers how him and Jimmy came up with the joke, and his just memory of it is completely fucking wrong. Like, you know, all the girls in Cartman's class think he's cute and he has superpowers, and you know, Jimmy says, "Oh, you're the funniest guy," and it's just all sorts of dumb shit that just, you know, stuff that didn't happen. That it's always that with him. It's just like when he tells a story, he tells it completely fucking wrong. He just, like maybe, you know what it is? The one fucking liberal I know of who was actually upset about Notre Dame is Ann Sturzinger. And that's because Ann Sturzinger is just this total, what do you call him, a Francophile. She just loves French culture, right? So she was upset about Notre Dame. That's the one person I've seen period, that would fit into these and she's not a Protestant by any chance, but I believe she's an atheist or agnostic or some shit like that. She's pretty left leaning. She's the one person I've seen upset about it that wasn't some sort of trad Catholic. Protestants like, oh, it's a shame. It's a piece of Christendom history. It's a shame to see it go. Whatever. I mean, I literally did a show, and I was getting a little bit of shit from some people in the chat, but I literally did a show where I was like, guys, it's just a building. Some of y'all need to calm down.
I mean, the French liberals, they killed their king. They murdered him. Regicide.
Yeah, well, in all fairness, he had it coming.
And now all of a sudden they're upset that these sort.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not like they replaced it with anything better, but if he was doing a good job, they probably wouldn't have been wanting to kill him in the first place.
The beauty that only comes out of a just monarchy is disappearing on them.
Back to the monarchism shit. You're gonna hear this a lot from Davis. You hear this a lot from, but it's always going on about hierarchy and everyone needs to know their place and all. You understand that when Davis imagines a proper hierarchy restored to the world, he's on top, or at least near the top. Okay, he doesn't imagine a just hierarchy where he's digging ditches and he's content with that. All right. No. Remember during all the pagan cult shit when they were talking about the Triforce hypothesis or whatever? I'm sorry. Let me make sure I get it right, just for stop making fun of it for a second. The trifunctional theory, where there was the merchant class and the warrior class, and then the priest/king class. Well, of course, Davis and his hellbound idiot fucking friends. Well, they were of course going to be in the priest/king class. It just happened to be that they would be on top, but that's not why they were promoting it. Yeah. And you're going to see this time and time again, proper hierarchy in which Davis would be on top, or near the top at least. If not the king, he imagines himself as some sort of lord or duke or whatever fucking other shit, whatever other titles they had back then. Some big title thing where everyone has to do what he says.
Where's the Catholics? The question is, when are we going to draw our swords? When it's time. And we'll know when it's time. Now is not the time. Let me put a little.
Y'all motherfucking Catholics ain't going to do shit. All right, let's be real. This is something when I was still on friendly terms with him, I busted his balls a little bit of. Because, back then I thought he was a man and could handle having his balls busted. But y'all trad Catholics going to do shit. You ain't going to do shit. All right? If the entire leadership structure of your church, raping children and covering it up, not the entire leadership structure, but, rampant raping of children, and then basically the entire leadership structure systematically covering it up, if that doesn't rile you up, nothing will. He's just going to sit there and take it. He's going to sit there. And Davis has said point blank, he's new. Oh, it wouldn't be my place to question the church's leadership. He finally admitted that kind of shit. So he ain't going to do nothing. He ain't going to do shit. What are we going to pick up our swords? You ain't going to do shit, okay? As much as he shits on American culture, we're the ones with all the guns. Okay, we're the ones that'll pick up our metaphorical swords at a moment's notice. I'm a dorky fucking nerd. With the last person in the world you'd think had guns. I had several before an unfortunate boating accident, if you know what I mean. It's very sad, unfortunate boating accident. I haven't been able to replace any of them yet. Just haven't had the cash. Maybe you should all send shekels. Very sad boating accident. Very, very tragic. Not sure why I insisted on bringing all the weaponry I own onto that boat, but it turned out to be a bad move. So, shekels greatly appreciated. Also greatly appreciated is checking out the sponsor, Steve's Jerky, folks. All right, let's get back to this because I don't want to be here all night. I don't think we're going through all this. He goes on for an hour and 45 minutes. Probably only
a little bit less mystical. The response to 9/11. How'd that turn out? George Bush invaded a country that had nothing to do with it. Made more secret deals with the Saudis, who had everything to do with it. And the Constitution was just shredded.
Yeah, George Bush's shit. Oh, by the way, the Constitution was shredded. Now all of a sudden the trad Catholic monarchist gives a shit about individual rights in the Constitution. That's fucking interesting.
Christchurch. How'd that turn out for New Zealand? I saw a lot of people that were happy. I was like, oh, white man is finally standing up for himself.
Well, I would give my own theories
how'd
on.
That turn out? People are being arrested for having air guns.
Yeah. I would give my own theories on how that, on what exactly that was, but I don't want to be thrown off YouTube.
America, if you think the economic situation is bad in America, it is so much worse in New Zealand. So not only have New Zealanders had their basic, human rights stripped from them, they're impoverished as well. Okay, like the price of rent, the living conditions. That New Zealand is absolutely terrible for your average citizen. From what I've read, I haven't been there. Maybe I'm wrong, but economically, it's just terrible.
I don't care. I don't give a shit about New Zealand.
This guy from Australia decided to shoot up a mosque that actually fostered a number of terrorists over the years, but at the end of the day, it was wrong. What he did was evil.
I don't give a shit. I don't care about New Zealand. I don't care about baby countries that never put a flag on the moon.
Points out, I say the glorious works on earth pale in comparison with the works in heaven. Absolutely. See, Cobb Beneso says, do you think the fourth turning plays into this demonic acceleration? Yes and no. Okay, that's like asking if the if the car contributed to the vehicular manslaughter. Yeah, it did, but a car's just an inanimate object. Historical forces are just historical forces. That we are entering a different generational cycle at this point, but we've had other ones that were very positive.
Yes. So more stuff you read in a blog that makes you sound smart.
It's sort of like when C.S. Lewis said, sometimes demons promote mysticism and magicians, other times they promote rationality and scientism. All right, and both of them are going to go evil. It's going to be a different flavor of evil, but evil is evil at the end of the day.
Yes, and Freud said sometimes a cigar is just a cigar, but with Davis, it's a brown dick. Takes a sip from his apple juice, puffs his cheap cigarette.
They do not get to have a beautiful thing like Notre Dame. Space Person says, do you think the burnings were caused by God somehow proving a point? God allowed the cathedral to be built. God allowed
all those evil Protestants. They don't get to have nice things.
And I'm going to veer in a different direction for a second because I want to. Guys, none of this will make sense if you try and use reason all the time. Okay, reason. That's one thing. That is one thing that. Who was it? That Protestant pastor that liked sleeping with the nun and the young girl that was only hired to clean his room, but
the fuck is he talking about?
He said reason is a whore, she'll give anybody a ride. That's absolutely true. When you try and use reason for your purposes, the majority of the time, you are just going to rationalize. As Common Phil said, man is the rationalizing animal. Bob Donazo and Space Bruce, thank you for the lemons. Thank you for the support. Reason needs to follow faith and revelation. Think of it.
I actually agree with that. I do think at a certain point you need faith. You have to have some sort of. If at an ultimate point you kind of have to have faith in reason if you have nothing else. But yeah. I mean, I agree. Yeah, reason leads to dead ends. Next thing, if you're I'm just about reason. Next thing you know, you're staring into an abyss full of bananas.
Okay, I saw the funniest thing the other day. Somebody said that it wasn't God that built the cathedral. It was man using mathematics. It's like, where do you think mathematics comes from? Mathematicians they are given, or like mathematicians will tell you how when they figure out a problem, a mathematical theorem, it hits them like a bolt out of the blue, and they know it's true. Now then they need to use their reason. They need to use mathematics. They need to do the legwork to make it, to prove that it's true. But it hits them as revelation. Like I did a video a long time ago saying that all knowledge is revelation, and we use reason to follow that revelation. When we start with reason, we're putting the cart before the horse. All right, and you won't be able to understand the world if you just use reason. You're going to wind up digging a ditch and getting stuck in it, which is where atheism and materialism always go. That said, when you follow inspiration, revelation,
I don't really disagree with a lot of this right now. So
with reason, you find out that the world is reasonable, that God has created a rational world. So I'm going to explain why an ungodly people doesn't get to have Notre Dame using reason. So, look at our architecture in the modern age. Look at the sheer ugliness of our architecture. That's part of the reason this jumps out at the Protestants and the liberals so much.
Again, it doesn't. But let's look at architecture. This is something that the trads go on about all the time, and it kind of annoys me. Because I'll be honest with you, I like a lot of modern architecture. A lot of modern architecture. I don't really like the brutalist shit that the government uses a lot. That stuff is ugly as all hell. But I remember it's one of these trad sites. Again, it's the trads that are upset about this. Let's pull Davis out of his fucking delusion here, where they were all like, oh, there's possibilities they might redesign Notre Dame, which I think is a bad idea. Actually, I think it's a very historical building. It should be restored to as it was. But they showed like this modern kind of steeple, and it was very sleek and modern. A lot of glass, a lot of glass and very shiny steel, or shiny silver kind of thing. It just had a very sleek, modern look, and it looked a lot like a lot of modern architecture attempts to have that kind of futuristic look, where it looks like some sort of sci-fi utopia almost. And I like a lot of that stuff. I like a lot of that kind of future pointing stuff. And what's interesting, they showed this, possible redesign or something. I don't know where they probably pulled it out of something. It was just a meme. But I'm like, that actually looked pretty fucking cool. I lived in Pittsburgh briefly. Pittsburgh, the skyline in downtown Pittsburgh, the handful of skyscrapers that are down there. Very interesting architecture. Gorgeous in a lot of ways. I like a lot of that stuff. Now, again, I don't like the brutalist shit that you see at government buildings. I remember actually a couple years ago, went back to my hometown down in Southern Maryland and went by my old elementary school, and it was just as it was. And it's just ugly, soul-crushing, brutalist shit. I hate that stuff. But a lot of modern architecture looks great. A lot of the architecture, one of the reasons I'm sad to see malls go is a lot of the architecture in malls was just gorgeous. Just conveyed true. Anti-Dem wrote a great article about malls, back in the day. They represented the future, capital F kind of thing. And like, not everything has to look like medieval fucking shit in order to look good. Yeah, a lot of that stuff does look good, but there is a lot of gorgeous, beautiful modern architecture. Again, basically, I'm okay with almost all of it, except for the brutalism. Later on in this video, Davis bitches about McMansions. Oh, they're all the same and they're interchangeable. And this is some shit I hear trads bitching about the suburbs. But what they don't get there, again, because they romanticize the Middle Ages so damn much, is that the reasons they're all interchangeable like that is so that they could be produced quickly. so that there could be a big housing boom and the suburbs could even come into existence. I love the suburbs, by the way. That was the middle class. That was the perfect balance between a small community, but still the conveniences of a big city. It's that perfect middle ground between rural and urban. I love the suburban areas. That they are dying is sad, and it's indicative of the middle class dying. But again, a lot of modern architecture is gorgeous. But when you're look, guys, we have NPCs on the right. Let's be real. When you're one of these right-wing NPCs, ooh, modernism bad. You know, the neo-reactionary cat memes that Davis used to share a few years ago. I'm neo-reactionary cat. I turned my back on modernity. It's funny. He actually virtue signaled against that in one of his streams a little while ago when he was talking about ideas aren't outfits or whatever horseshit. But no, they are to him. But again, this idea, oh, everything after the Protestant Reformation's been just nothing but ugliness. And again, I've even talked about how I find a certain beauty even in a lot of these small churches in a box is where these small upstart non-denominational churches scoop up unused like abandoned real estate, or abandoned retail real estate and turn it into a church. I find that gorgeous because it's a reflection of the gospel. Something is redeemed for God's purposes rather than just building a new building. So again, that's what we're going to go here with Davis. Everything modern is ugly. All the old Catholic stuff is pretty. Nothing else is pretty but that. Let's keep going.
Is because Protestants and liberals can't make anything beautiful. They are completely.
Of course not.
Protestants are proud of how ugly their churches are. At one time I was trying to figure out.
And see, that's again because I brought this up before, where I've said, I find it beautiful. I find it appropriate that Protestants often don't, and not all Protestants, by the way. A lot of the more old denominations are a lot of the older Protestant denominations, they have goofy, fucking decadent, opulent buildings just like the Catholics do. But what was it, Common Filth, I think, like to say a lot of times, big steeple, no people. That's the problem with a lot of them old churches. They're whitewashed tombs. Really, let's be real. Notre Dame was a whitewashed tomb. That was a really pretty one, but nonetheless.
Place. I'm like, I'm just driving past the ugly Protestant church. That's redundant, isn't it?
It's one of the.
Why is it?
You can count on one hand the amount of quote unquote jokes this man knows.
That liberalism and rebellion can't produce anything beautiful.
Again with the it's all rebellion stuff. Davis, I have to ask you, what are you doing to help abolish the death penalty in Canada? Does Canada even have a death penalty? I don't know. They're so faggy and cucked. What are you doing to help abolish the death penalty in the West? Because surely you're not defying the direct moral teaching of your church, right? I mean, that would just be every man his own pope, right? So surely you're diligently working to help abolish the death penalty, as your church now teaches, correct? You're doing that, right? Oh, you're not? Oh, you disagree with that? Well, who are you? Who are you to disagree with that? See, again, it's only rebellion. It's rebellion when you disagree with Davis, is what it is.
And then there's two. The inspired answer is that beauty uplifts, but it humbles. When I look at a regular building, when I look at a McMansion, right, I look at that and it's like, you know what, I could build that. It would, I'd have to read a few books. It would take me a while, but I could build that. If I had unlimited time and resources.
Well, first of all, if I had unlimited time and resources, I mean, I could do anything. If I had infinite time and infinite resources, I'm sure eventually I could figure something out. I don't know, might take me a few trillion eons, but I'm sure eventually. If I had unlimited, what a fucking non-statement. But again, Davis, the reason those buildings are rather simple to build is so that they can be produced efficiently and cheaply, so that people have reasonably nice places to live at somewhat affordable. It was about raising up standards of living. See, Davis wants to. I see this with trad Catholics all the time. There's a stereotype of the kind of medieval times when the Catholic Church ruled lots of Europe, and it's not entirely fair. As is always the case, history is a bit more nuanced than many people like to give it credit for. But the stereotype was everybody in the village is dirt fucking poor. All right. Half of them are dying diarrhea related deaths. They live in fucking mud huts damn near. And the local Catholic church is a gorgeous building basically made of gold. And the priests are living it up off of the backs of the people. Now, that's not entirely fair. Obviously, like I said, history is a complex thing. And a lot of times these things get whatever. But there was a kernel of truth to that. Now, whereas most Catholics would point out all the times that wasn't the case, Davis actually points to this, and he might do it in this stream, but I've heard him do it numerous times where, no, that actually was a good thing because everybody got to enjoy the cathedral. Which makes me wonder, I mean, he always brings up Joel Osteen as shitting on Catholic or Protestants, because again, that's the only Protestant Catholics can name other than Martin Luther. But what's the problem with Joel Osteen then? Everybody gets to enjoy his sermons in his church, right? What's the problem with him swindling a bunch of naive old ladies?
Easily do that. But when I look at a cathedral, and I was lucky enough, there's I forget which city, but in America there's actually a reproduction of Notre Dame. I was lucky enough to go there with a friend of mine. And when you look at that, like to build something like Notre Dame, you not only need to be an expert architect and stone and all those building trades. This is advanced building. This isn't hammering some 2x4s and putting some drywall over top of it. This is amazing. This is expert construction. But not just that. It goes further. You need to be an expert on mythology. You need to be an expert on theology. You need to be an expert on mathematics, because you're not just using the exact same shape that everybody has used 100 times before. There's these flying buttresses. There's these just beautiful.
You got to know all the keyboard shortcuts.
You need to be an absolutely brilliant polymath to make something like Notre Dame. And listen, I'm a polymath, and I can do it. It humbles me looking at that in a way that modern architecture doesn't. Anybody can make modern architecture.
Again, not true of all modern architecture. But yes, the mass-produced buildings are designed to be able to be mass-produced.
Civilization 5, how you get great people that are born every once in a while, and one of them's the great engineer, right? You need a great man to be able to design.
What is with the Civ 5 references all the fucking time with him? Another one of these just time-wasting Skinnerbox video games that he just goes on about. It's no wonder he has such a low opinion of video games. The shit he plays. Civ 5 and Minecraft. Was it Team Fortress 2 he went on about?
And something like Notre Dame. Comte Meso says, didn't Notre Dame pioneer the use of flying buttresses? I believe it did. And what a beautiful, as I understand it, it's a support structure that's only indirectly connected to the building. Thus the flying buttress. Like, what a brilliant, beautiful concept. Now the rebel, the atheist, yes, the Protestant. Well, thank you for the lemon space barista.
What is lemon? What is that even? I don't know. I don't use DLive. It'll probably be gone in a month.
Protestantism.
All right, hang on.
The core concept of it is that
he says, "What's the core I want you all to hear this. What's the core concept of Protestantism?" Now, let me give you the correct answer before he gives you the bullshit answer. The core concept of Protestantism was, hey, maybe the word of God matters more than the word of man. There you go. There's the core concept. Maybe we should get back to Scripture. That's the core concept. Boom. There you go. That Scripture is the ultimate authority for Christians. Not the only authority, but the ultimate authority. No, Protestantism doesn't reject inherently tradition or man-made the hierarchies of man. But know that all that needs to be brought under Scripture, not Scripture brought under tradition. That's the correct answer. Now let's hear Davis's bullshit answer.
Every man is his own pope.
Every man is his own pope is what it is. Oh, okay. So once again, Davis, just curious, what are you doing to abolish the death penalty? As your pope has instructed you, or are you defying your own pope? Are you being your own pope there, Davis? Just a little curious there.
Pope? I'm not going to do what he tells me. Who's he?
Well, are you doing what he tells you? No.
Should I do what he tells me? I'm my own man. But
once again, Davis, you helping to abolish? Are you working to abolish the death penalty?
What they do is they take the Bible, they use the Bible to create the veneer of godliness around a man-made morality. So the Protestants believe in the exact same materialist morality as the atheists, as the liberals, as the neocons.
No, that's a lie.
The exact same materialism. But they paint it gold to say that it's God.
And also, I'm not going to be lectured on materialism by the church that insists everything be painted and that insists on all the opulence and decadence and everything.
Materialism, but it's not. It's man-made morality with selective quotations from the Bible. The imperfect book that needed 7 books from or sorry, the perfect book that needed 7 books removed from it. The conceit, and this is so perfect. Like America is the extreme example of it. America, where everybody is equal. Every man's opinion is just as good as everybody else.
Okay, so now we're going to get to the part where Davis wants to shit on America. You know, the country he's so fucking desperate to come back to. The country he stayed in illegally for quite some time, a couple years ago. Got to listen to a fucking leaf badmouth the greatest country in the world. I'm sorry, is there a gay leaf flag on the moon?
Hollywood movie whisper in your ear that you are just the same as Captain America, as Iron Man. You're just as important as them. The only difference is that they got the superpower, but they're average people. Okay,
several things here. Number one, I swear because again, he sees a Marvel movie, he thinks of me, and he thinks of how I made a fool of him, and it must just fill him with fucking rage. But Captain America and Iron Man, they're just average people, and they got superpowers, and you could be like that. You could get... Iron Man is not... he goes on about he talks about Marvel shit more than I do. And yet it's amazing how much he doesn't understand of it. Like he's never even fucking seen the movies. Iron Man is a genius who built the fucking armor that gives him the powers. He was talking about the great man once in a generation. Iron Man as a character represents that. What's the line in the first Avengers movie where Captain America's like, without the armor, what are you? He's like, genius, playboy, billionaire, philanthropist, take your pick. So, It's unreal. And you know the other thing, and this is something you see from the arenas out there. These hyper, I don't know, these, what do you want to call them? These esoteric right wing motherfuckers who, even though half the time their lives are in the shitter, they want to go on the internet and LARP as some sort of ubermensch. And here's the Triforce hypothesis of how society should be set up, which just happens to involve me being the king. Um, it's all from this place where like you want to feel superior to everyone else. And I understand that temptation. Look, we all in this corner of the internet, basically everyone in my audience, you're what one might crassly refer to as red pilled. You're based and red pilled, as one might say. And part of that is that, you see you see some you see things a little bit more clearer than the average guy. And there's a real danger of letting that go to your head. And by a little bit more clear, look, the average guy isn't paying attention. Okay. He's got to, he's too busy living his life in many cases. He's got to go to work. He's got to feed his family. He's got a million obligations. So in these circles, I see this this desire, and not just the esoteric. I saw it so much in nerd culture over the years, and I'm not going to pretend like I didn't occasionally fall in this trap myself, and I cringe thinking of it in the past, where like, oh, I'm not like all those normies. I'm red pilled. On the left, I guess they'd say I'm woke. All this other shit. In the last few weeks, I've kind of, for whatever reason, I found myself getting into a hockey kick. Specifically, I've been playing a lot of old hockey games. I've been picking up a lot of them too, to play. Just today, I picked up a few at my retro game store. Specifically, I love the EA NHL series on the Genesis. I got 97. I got the first NHL hockey. I've played a bunch of them over the years, but I want to get 94, 5, and 6 too. Great games. And I've sort of been rediscovering my love of hockey. I used to love it a lot as a kid. Back when I was, I want to say like 12, maybe 11. My dad actually took me to a Capitals game. I used to watch it a lot on TV. I never followed it really heavily because I didn't have a lot of friends that were really heavy into it. A lot of my nerd friends just sneered at sports ball, period. But I always had a love for hockey. And it's one of those things where you got to go out of your way to follow it. I mean, you can kind of follow football just by hearing people talk. I mean, I often joke, I know who won the Super Bowl each year against my will. The point of all that, what I'm getting at here is, past few weeks, I just had a hair up my ass, and I've been looking into some hockey stuff. It's like, oh, I wonder if there's a hockey game on the Switch, one of the new NHLs. And for some reason, there doesn't seem to be. They got fucking FIFA and NBA 2K19 on the Switch. They don't seem to have NHL, which saddens me. I was watching some hockey stuff on YouTube. This guy, this, that, or the other stuff, talking about it. And, I kind of, I don't, I'm guilty of shitting on the sports ball guys a bit too much sometimes. Now, some of them get kind of cucky. Some of them get kind of ridiculous about it. But look, it's not like my fellow fucking nerd culture guys don't get ridiculous about shit either. We all saw the fucking Star Wars guy crying over yet another shitty Star Wars, and we laughed at it, okay? So obviously, as I like to say, like what you like, but have some self-respect about it. But the point is, I'm kind of now getting weary of this shit where it's like, I just want to feel better than the normies. I just want to feel smarter than the normies. I'm not like what's there's now a joke on Facebook where a new Game of Thrones episode comes out, and then people who don't watch Game of Thrones making obligatory. Am I the only one who doesn't watch Game of Thrones meme? Where you got to go out of your way to point out you're not enjoying this thing that everybody else is having fun with. And like I said, I'm guilty of that too. And I get it when you're not into something and it feels like it's getting crammed down your throat, it can get annoying. But this is something I'm just kind of fucking tired of. Like just this, I want to feel smarter than the normie shit all the time from people. People in the chat, Facebook, are you a boomer? Honestly, I think Facebook's a great messaging app. It's just an easy way to keep in touch with a lot of people. So yeah, I'm on Facebook a lot. And I run the Bechtloff Facebook page, which is the only social media I'm not fucking IP banned from at this point. So, I can't use the Twitter directly. I gotta have Luke post shit. And there's plenty of reasons why I think there's a lot of cuckiness to sports ball. That said, though, I don't know how else to put it. I'm tired of this shit where everyone wants to just, I'm smarter than everybody else. Oh, I'm not like the normies. I get it. I'm woke. I'm red pilled. It's just all so fucking tiring. I miss some of my former roommates who used to watch fucking wrestling and basketball all the time. I never really liked wrestling that much. I like what Tosh.0 said about Daniel Tosh. His name's not Tosh.0. Daniel Tosh said about it once. He goes, wrestling is the gayest thing that only straight people like. But I kind of miss that. I kind of miss just everybody gathered around and there was like a party for the next basketball game or something. And you got chips and there's a bunch of people in I'm kind of antisocial and I'm sort of annoyed by it at the time, but I find myself missing it. Again, I still think football is fucking boring. I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I can at least watch it. At least things fucking happen in it. Football's just boring. Not as boring as baseball, but it's boring. Like I said, though, I'm so sick of this. Like, I'm smarter than the normies, and I went off on this tangent because that's exactly why Davis wants to shit on Marvel movies. Aside from the fact that it's a way to fucking attack me. Because you notice he started going hard on the Marvel movies when I decided I was going to not hold back on the Catholic Church. That was his, oh, well, yeah, I'll shit on the Marvel movies. Like, I give a shit that you don't like the Marvel movies. You don't even know half of what you're talking about on it anyway. So, but okay, you don't like movies that I like. Whoopie Jack shit. Let's keep going though. I don't want to be off on too much of a tangent there.
And yeah, they're really buff, but they're average. And it's like, I could beat buff if I wanted to. Right? And everybody is their own secret little king in their own head.
Secret king, indeed, Davis. Everybody's their own secret king. Like how you constantly scour fucking esoteric blogs to find this or that weird fucking chart or metric that puts you on top of things. Here I found something about the endomorphs and the ectocoolers and the xenomorphs, and this chart clearly shows that I should be ruling society. Here's the Triforce hypothesis about how I should be in charge. It's funny too when you pulled out that fucking stupid chart on like endomorphs and shit like that. I paused it and I said, I guarantee you, this is all going to be about how he's the he's the group on this fucking chart that is supposed to be in charge of society. And sure enough, as predictable as a sunrise.
And so secret kings, these narcissists, they believe that they're just as good as everybody else. No, you're not. You are not as good as everybody else. That's BS. You have a place in the hierarchy. Accept it. No, they won't accept it. They won't listen to the Pope. They won't listen to God except when he says something.
They won't listen to the Pope. Once again, Davis, what are you doing to abolish the death penalty? How are you working to abolish the death penalty? Do you still advocate that the death penalty is just and moral? Because if you do, you're not listening to the Pope. Why aren't you listening to the Pope, Davis?
They like. They won't follow orders. They're just a whole bunch of cheats. No Indian.
Again, Davis goes off about, you got to follow orders. You got to fall in line with your hierarchy. Only because he imagines that this proper hierarchy involves him being at or near the top.
And so I was watching some clips. So there's a documentary a couple years ago about the ugliness of modern architecture. And a lot of these buildings were government buildings, or they were zoned by government officials. And on the one hand, it seems like it's abuse by government officials, but who voted people? Why do we have such mediocre leaders? Why don't we have polymaths? Why don't we have geniuses to be our leaders? And the reason is because it would offend the ego.
Yes. Government architecture is shit. I agree with you. We're going to wrap this up, folks, because I don't want to go on and on and on and on about this shit. I caught a few things in here I thought were interesting enough to talk about. All right. We're not going to go on and on and on about it. I didn't want to go much more than an hour. I just thought it was some of the typical bullshit trad Catholic arguments that I could talk about. And it sort of reflected a few things that's been on my mind with the, I'm so much smarter than the normies, and I'm so much smarter than all this modern society, and I get all this other gay shit. So that's about all we got for tonight, folks. I don't want to keep this going. We're not going to do big 5-hour bullshit on this crap. We made the point. Because this quickly gets boring. This can get way too fucking boring if you let it. So, if you enjoy the show, check out sponsor Steve's Jerky. Steve's Jerky is delicious, and in my humble experience, helps protect you from the hexes of witches and wizards. Also, if you enjoy the show, you can support the show by sending a one-time donation of any amount to the PayPal. You can support the show by contributing a regular donation of any amount through the Patreon. And you support the show by going on the Amazon wish list and buying me some of the dumb shit that I like. And that's about all we got for today, folks. I want to thank you all for listening. And Bechtloff out.